Good to go. All right. Hey, I'm Peace, and I guess I'm representing CryptoParty.org and trying to encourage you to start a crypto party in your town. So what a crypto party is basically it takes common cryptographic programs and teaches the layman their fundamental operation to help people wear an internet condom, say. They're free demonstrations open to the public and completely non-commercial to ensure that you're not beholden to any corporation for having free stuff. And while I don't think I need to explain why privacy matters to this group, there's some interesting things that I'd like to bring up that perhaps you haven't thought about, like what privacy you're actually entitled to in the public arena when you're giving speeches to the public, say. So in 1927, Lillian Jones attacked the two men that brutally stabbed her husband, and the newspapers got wind of this and published everything about it and got really excited, and she sued them for invasion of privacy. She later lost, and the courts ruled that a person forfeits the right to one's life in seclusion when he or she, willingly or not, becomes an actor in an occurrence of public or general interest, which kind of parallels an even older idea from Macbeth, that you know your own degrees, which is to say, the degree to which a person is free to control their exposure depends on that person's place in society. And note, we're not animals. Most of us. Okay, and I don't mean like in a spiritual sense. Okay, and that's, yeah, sure we are. But W.H. Auden differentiated us from animals when he spoke about the capacity for self-disclosure, the human capacity for self-disclosure, and that implies an equal capacity for self-concealment. And by contrast of an animal, it is equally true to say that it is incapable of telling us what it really feels and that it is incapable of hiding its feelings. So, oppression attempts to reduce human capabilities to those of an animal by compromising our capacity for self-concealment. So, when you start to promote your crypto party, the most common objection that you're going to hear is, let them look, I've got nothing to hide. And you realize that's an incredibly naive idea. And our most abject surrenders occur behind the pretense of indifference. And to, I guess, establish a little ethos for Crypto Party itself, I'm going to go through the Crypto Party manifesto, just bullet by bullet. So we are the users, we fight for the user, and we strive to empower the user, which kind of mirrors some philosophically anarchistic ideas of mutual aid and solidarity that I like so much. The right to personal anonymity, pseudonymity, and privacy is a basic human right. This includes life, liberty, dignity, security, right to a family, and right to live without fear or intimidation. No government, organization, or individual should prevent people from accessing the technology which underscores these basic human rights. Privacy is the absolute right of the individual. Transparency is a requirement of governments and corporations who act in the name of people. So, back to that V for Vendetta idea of yeah. Can I Vogue again? The individual, huh? Gonna marry? No. Oh, did she? Oh. The individual alone owns the right to their identity. Only the individual may choose they want to share. And maybe this needs to be instilled in some of your minds, that coercive attempts to gain access to personal information without explicit content is a breach of human rights. Which is to say, don't break into people's stuff. All people are entitled to cryptography and the human rights crypto tools afford, regardless of race, color, sex, language, religion, political or other opinion, national or social origin, property, birth, political, jurisdictional, or international status of the country or territory in which a person resides. Sorry, it's a long list, but I think it's important. Just as government should exist only to serve their citizens, it follows that cryptography should belong to the people. Surveillance cannot be separated from censorship and the slavery it entails. No machine shall be held in servitude to surveillance and censorship. Crypto is a key for our collective freedom. Almost at the end here. Code is speech. Code is a human-created language. To ban, censor, or lock cryptography away from the people is to deprive human beings from a human right, the freedom of speech. And finally, those who would seek to stop the spread of cryptography are akin to 15th century clergy seeking to ban the printing press, afraid their monopoly on knowledge will be undermined. It's been said that the printing press taught people how to read, and the internet taught people how to write. So a little background on CryptoParty. It was started via a casual conversation by Asher Wolf on Twitter. She's from Melbourne. This was in late August of this year. Melbourne's first crypto party brought 70 people where they expected about 30, and it really exploded from there. London's expected 50 and got 120. It's in 43 countries other than our own. These are around the world. This is a list of the ones in North America. There's 14 crypto parties in America. They even have an online crypto party in case you can't make it. But where I only have 2 pages in this list, I want to see this 8 pages next time I give this talk. So hopefully you guys will take this to heart and start your own crypto parties, which is the whole point of this talk. So, actually throwing a crypto party. Rule 1, go to cryptoparty.org. They have all the resources you need to learn about the cryptographic tools that you're going to be teaching. Also has great advice on how to start one. You don't actually have to listen to me, although please do. Let's see. Lock down the specifics. Reserve your location weeks ahead of time. You're going to need internet to help people install the tools that you're advocating. Make it free. Human knowledge belongs to the world. Don't be beholden to corporations to pay for your pizza or whatever. You need to be able to speak freely without exception. They have this idea of pseudo leadership, S-U-D-O, like all you Ubuntu users understand, where the people who go to a crypto party kind of take a leadership role each time and organize it themselves. I mean, I manage the Cookville crypto party. I don't always give a talk, and I don't always reserve the room, etc. I do usually bring the wine. Bring toys. Bring USB sticks of the programs you want to spread out, printed handouts of information about your particular speech, old boxes so people can hack around and play with some of the toys. Bring projects you're working on, let's say Arduino or something, and talk about Linux. It's important. You'd be surprised some people will have never heard of Linux before. And in my mind, proprietary is another word for censorship. So also, because it kind of has this anarchistic philosophy and structure, if you want something done, you do it yourself. I think that makes sense syntactically. Yeah. Invite everybody. Everybody. Go to journalism schools. Make sure that they understand why they need cryptography to protect themselves and their sources. Impoverished areas, because more often than not, the poor are constantly oppressed. The Muslim community, ever since 9/11, this country has had a serious problem with Muslims being oppressed and experience prejudice on a daily basis. Immigrants, similar story. Activists like me are already surveilled, I'm sure. Fringe groups, invite them too, even if they don't agree with you philosophically or politically, invite them. This is a human right, and don't be so arrogant to not share it with people just because you disagree with them. Regarding your crypto party, after which you should get feedback from your users and kind of have this collective crowdsourced structure. Size doesn't matter. It's your content that counts. And I like to live by the motto of explain it like I'm 5, or ELI 5, because basically you're going to be needing to teach these people, the layman who's non-technical, how to use these highly technical tools. So act like you're teaching a 10-year-old who's going to go teach an 80-year-old. Don't scare people. Let the government do that. T.S. Eliot said, humankind cannot take much reality, which is funnily followed up by Sartre's quote, hell is other people. Anyway, I encourage you to delegate your intelligence. So your first couple of meetings are probably going to be your close friends or whatever, and people who know what you're talking about. And once you have a strong base set up and your crypto party grows and grows, you take those original members and you just spread them out throughout your group to help explain on a better teacher to student ratio. You're going to need to talk about Tor, off-the-record messaging, and pretty good privacy over and over again. These are fundamental tools to crypto party that everybody needs to know about. Yeah. Yeah, I should put that on here because my suggested topics just include TrueCrypt, OpenVPN, and Bitcoin, but ITP is an excellent tool. You're absolutely right. It doesn't have to be on this list. ITP is a great example. We've even had talks on like how to root your phone or how to set up an SSH server. But ultimately, the mission is the same. How to promote social networks like Facebook. But really, Crypto Party started on Twitter, right? And it's still just violently active on Twitter. Perhaps that's a bad choice of words. But make flyers. Invite your graphic artist friends to help you make interesting flyers. People like pretty things, and that'll help promote your group. Give promotional talks to Girl and Boy Scout groups, music festivals. I present at our university. You could go to high schools if you think you can convince the principal that you're not evil, or nursing homes even, don't leave anybody out. Chalk graffiti is your friend because it washes away real easy and you're not going to get in trouble for it. Make email lists of all your users for retention. Don't pressure them for it, but if they want to give you their email address, great. And definitely post your respective crypto party and city on cryptoparty.org. It has a running list of everything going on, and it helps everybody understand that we're all in this together, and it is absolutely everywhere. Invite guest speakers like judges and lawyers who are experts on litigation concerning privacy. Old 70s and 80s hackers. I'm going to try and get John Draper to come to Cookeville. That's not going to work, but I'll try. Journalists who in the past have had to worry about their sources and personal security if they went outside of the country in particularly oppressive regimes. Or professors in computer science, say, who are experts and it's their job to talk. So they're probably pretty good at giving speeches. And most importantly, and finally, keep it fun. We have movie nights that actually is more popular than Crypto Party itself, which is kind of sad. But we would have picnics if it wasn't super cold. I was thinking about doing some crowd art stuff, so go buy an old sheet and some acrylic paint and just all paint together. That'd be fun. LAN parties, you're probably going to have a bunch of nerds there. Nerds love games. I do. And post-party raids, which sounds terrible, but say like a critical mass of bikes where you ride around town and just post your flyers up. It'd be fun, helps build camaraderie. And celebrate holidays together. Like Monday night, we all got together, had Eggy in a basket, and watched a nice film about a guy with a mask on and blowing up Parliament. That was highly successful. That's that. Questions? Comments? I'd really like to get everybody's idea on how to make Crypto Party better. So, yes.
Well, Adrian talked about last night the team that built where you have the phone machine and you keep a certain amount of time.
Sure.
Could you turn that idea on its head where you have a network put together with a hub just to make it easy for the person to switch? You have to get a message from party A to party B without the other people figuring out what it is.
Yeah.
So now you've got two people pitting them. You've got groups pitting against each other. But the idea is, can I apply some of what I should learn in the crypto party to get my message from point A to point B?
Yeah, that would definitely be fun. Sir. Thanks.
Oh, maybe I should stand up here. That'll be easier. So yeah, I'm from Oakland and California. Has anybody heard about Occupy Oakland and all the stuff that's happened with it? With the tear gas and everything else? And I also helped to organize the Oakland Crypto Party, which I saw on there, so thank you. And also thank you so much for all the work that you're doing, because this stuff is critically important. One of the things that we discovered when we were running the crypto party that we did is that it's really important to get people to understand why it's important to them. I can give 2 examples just from things that happened in Oakland.
Great.
So first off, with the Oakland PD, it turned out that when they were coming out and breaking up the occupies or the protests or whatnot, they also had a system that was listening to all the cell phone traffic, and basically everyone who had a cell phone that was turned on at that time, all your traffic was being recorded, and they have records of everyone who was at a protest, and are actually using that to do profiling.
You just gave me chills.
Right. Another example, this is actually a court case that popped up on, I think, October 13th in San Francisco, right as the Oakland Crypto Party was going on. There was another protest where police arrested a bunch of people, and they seized their cell phones, and they have not yet returned them as far as I know. And there's a bunch of legal questions going on as to not just whether they can search, but also whether something is of yourself and how long they can hold things for. And there's a bunch, because I mean, once they return those cell phones, the question is, well, they've probably imaged them anyways. So
Oh, yeah.
there are questions as to how they can return.
Totally compromised.
And a final note on that, in California at least, they've recently passed a law basically allowing police the ability to warrantlessly search your phones, your cell phones. So routine traffic pullover, they actually have a tool where they can download all the data off of your phone. So I assume that this is going to be transferred everywhere else.
It's been the stance of the Obama administration that if your cell phone traffic goes through a third party, like it has to, then you have no right to the expectation of privacy, which is bullshit.
Right. And what was the guy's name? The guy from Occupy Boston, who I think the DOJ subpoenaed Twitter for his tweets because he had some deleted tweets while he was in. I think while he was arrested in Occupy New York somewhere, or Occupy Wall Street. So there are things like that going on, and given the fact that there are people who use these social networks, because you are simply a user on the network according to the law, when the government subpoenas the social network for it, like with a regular subpoena or with a 2703D order, as was with Twitter, they have often they're even gagged from telling you, let alone just having the courtesy of doing so.
Yeah.
And it's a really tricky situation. So one of the questions that people have is, well, why do I need to care about this? And the reason is because you don't know what's going on behind the scenes. We're in kind of a cloak and dagger, I guess, government world right now. And I think Crypto Party is a critical element in order to help people to not even fight back against it, but more just stand up for your basic civil Bill of Rights.
Yeah, I think you're talking about Jacob Applebaum of Tor.
Right.
Yeah, where they served Twitter a national security letter, which had judicial oversight to get his data, which is wiretapping in my opinion and totally illegal. And then they served them a 2703D, which gagged them from telling Jacob. Jacob found out, exposed it to them, and they arrogantly admitted to it. So there's a video of that where the FBI, not director, but a representative of the FBI is like, yeah, we know about your 23OD, which she can't legally say. I think that's hilarious, but yeah.
Right, and he also did a talk. And William Binney is another one of he's the NSA whistleblower that has stood up against all of this stuff. We didn't cover that in our crypto party, but it's still important. There's a lot of really important things going on because right now we have all this technology that's allowing people to actually, for once in a very long time, have freedom of speech. And lawmakers are getting afraid of it because they're all bought by corporations, with a few exceptions like Dennis Kucinich and Ron Paul and a few others. Mm-hmm. But yeah, just one of the things that I found is if you can get people to understand that, while they might not understand it, they can trust you and that there's a serious cost to not doing this stuff, as in they could wind up in jail with charges they don't know about or being detained endlessly. It's just good to know, that's all. And I was curious, with your crypto party, what were the things that people who came to it walked away with and they found were really helpful and beneficial to them? I'll shut up now.
So a lot of people that come to the Cookeville Crypto Party aren't really technically savvy people. Most of them are chemical engineers because they're friends of mine. So none of them knew what Tor was, for example. And I haven't been able to give other talks on OTR, PGP yet, but I've kind of let them go do their thing with that pseudo leadership mentality. Afterwards, we all get together, and we'll all watch a video of Jacob Applebaum or that Bill Binney at the Whitley video, say, which sounds like incredibly boring, but there's wine involved, so it's fun. Yes, ma'am. I mean, so by that we should like go ban guns and stuff, right? Fact. Now, the Tor was developed by the Navy. I mean, Tor has 500,000 people every day. Yes, sir.
The FBI has recently been ordered by a judge to reveal data concerning their Going Dark program. For the last several years, Justice Department has taken issue with cryptography and their fear, not a realistic problem, but the fear that they are losing the ability to surveil. And this internal program called Going Dark has basically been a partnership between the Justice Department and companies like Microsoft, which now owns Skype, Facebook, Twitter, to create these sort of backdoors into infrastructure for the purpose of surveillance. A Ninth Circuit federal judge has ordered, either 9 or 7, has ordered that the FBI reveal information about that Going Dark program. And this is, I think, part of a greater problem in the law enforcement community is the war on warrants. Where
Yeah.
The warrant is a specific tool for judicial oversight of investigation, and that's something that they seem to want to get away from.
So it gets me really excited that governments are finally afraid of their people. Well, they should work for us.
Hey, when Texas kills a corporation, executes a corporation, then they're people.
So I know you have looked into that a lot more than I have.
The idea behind mesh networking is Okay, so the idea behind mesh networking is essentially, let's say all of us could pair our wireless networks together, and say like you live in a neighborhood, so you go down the street, down the street, down the street, down the street, and then someone in that neighborhood has a link to the other neighborhood, and you're essentially creating an internet without any third-party provider involved. And I think that the awareness of mesh networking and the progress of mesh networking will really help advance anonymity and lower the reliance of the third parties that the governments are using to do surveillance on us.
Absolutely. I know the Reddit community has a pretty active role in that. They started with the darknet plan and then realized that's a really poor marketing stance. So then now they just call it like the mesh network or something. I don't know. Yes, sir?
So with Armageddon scheduled for next month,
Spies. So we're not doing anything wrong. We're asserting our rights, right? So if they want to come and actually learn about technology, great. Then fuck them. We're going to hire the best losers. Yeah.
you will know there's a representative at your crypto party when he or she asks you if you would like to go over to the post office and not blow it up. That's when you say, no thank you. Yeah,
Oh, wow.
that's the technique the government likes to get people that have serious criminal records and say, hey, we'll put you on the payroll for your 80K a year, working under the FBI or whomever. You need to be an informant for this militia group.
I can make 80K a year at that?
And then they try to get them once they're in. Well, you need to talk to these guys and blow it up, whatever, for a whole entrapment scheme thing to make their little FBI group look like they're getting something accomplished by setting up some taxes.
Yes? Will Pig brought that up to me when I asked him about this. No, I haven't had a key signing party. I guess we could. Had not heard of key signing parties, to be honest with you, when I started this, but he brought...
I was going to say, when you advertise it, make sure you say key signing party, not key party. Now, the key party people may need the key signing going on also. All Nation is wrong too. We need to reach out to other groups.
Yeah, right?
No idea.
Not that. Well, yeah, I advocate key parties and safety all around, right? The comment that I wanted to add to the having key signing parties period, the way that we did it in Oakland at least, we actually had it split into two groups. We had an upstairs and a downstairs, so we could do that. The downstairs, which was bigger, we opened up for, we had different talks, and it was intended for beginners who maybe they didn't know math or cryptography or even computers at all, and it was intended as an introduction. We had upstairs the people who knew a bit more about it. We had key sign-in. There was a lot of arguments about MPOTR and things like that, multi-party OTR. And we just found that splitting it and allowing people who are a bit more advanced to come and collaborate and even create tools if they wanted to do or discuss the pros and cons. Those discussions we could then put in a wiki. And
Yeah.
and that we did that in addition to having the introductory things. And we're fortunate enough to be next to the EFF, so EFF sent a couple people over and they gave talks about Tor and OTR and things like that. So that's just something that we did that we found helpful.
If little Cookville Crypto Party gets that big, hopefully we can split it someday. And hopefully we can start one in Nashville. I'm a little surprised it's not here yet. So, SE 2600, yeah. Not to,
It's called anarchist.
no, it's not anarchy. Fundamentally, no, him. Yeah, sorta. Yeah. Not to my knowledge. think you just kind of have to, vote with your heart. I don't know what you're talking about. Huh. Anybody else? Yep.
One of the things you want to start emphasizing, and to the point over here, that in the next frontier of encryption is mobile encryption. It is that device. I mean, we've got TrueCrypt and LibCrypt for Linux. I mean, we've got the ability to do whole drive encryption on your system. So if they take it, you could have the name of every terrorist in the world on that drive, set it out in front of the FBI and say, "See you in a million years when you break it."
Even with Bluffdale, Utah's installation, with all their.
The point is that we have that kind of whole disk, very powerful whole disk encryption that maybe not maybe the NSA may have a chance, but National PD, forget it. And so the point is that we have this very powerful encryption technology for our desktops and our laptops. We need that same powerful technology for our mobiles, because
Definitely.
if we're going to lose something, whether it's stolen from us, taken from us, and we lose control over it, it's going to be a mobile phone. And that has contact information. It has our web already.
Yeah, there are certain steps you can take for that. There's Tor for your phone, or I use Redphone for a lot of my calls, which is encrypted VoIP. And there's Text Secure that encrypts your text message database. And
But as an analysis of you, I might not be able to get your messages. I might not be able to get your contacts. But if I see that you have those tools already on the phone and what apps you have on your phone, I can make some general inferences about that, or that the phone actually belongs to you. Whereas if you have whole device encryption, where you turn it on and it boots to a screen asking for a password, and everything else behind that is 256 AES or better, it's a lot safer. That's assuming that you don't have.
it does.
Well, yeah, there's.
You can have full disk encryption all day long, but if you're set up the way iOS devices are, there's a police tool that exists. It's 1.0 that you can just copy the thing whole hog and completely bypass all cryptographic layers.
Right, but the point is that you can have an open source. I mean, there was a very good open source Android project.
Sure.
Whisperphone for a while that did exactly that with no hit to speed. And we need that needs to be I'm just saying that's the next frontier, is finding a way of doing real open source mobile cryptography that seals everything behind that wall.
Yeah.
Look up the Guardian project. That's pretty much their project.
I wanted to add something to that. So thank you for bringing that up. I'd forgotten about that. One of the things, full disk encryption using TrueCrypt or anything else you can find is really, really useful. However, one of the challenges that I don't know that we've faced this domestically yet, but we've had it a couple of times come in, and like somebody flying from Europe into the United States and getting detained by border patrol.
You have to give up your password.
Requesting your password.
So with Lux, though, it provides this plausible deniability, yeah?
That's not entirely true, because they can throw you in the court. They can throw you into jail for contempt of court. The other thing with crossing the border is, at the moment, at least, there has not yet been established. You do not have a right to a lawyer because you haven't actually been admitted to the United States yet. And on top of that, they can detain you as long as they want. However, if you are a U.S. citizen, they have to let you in. But this is really tricky gray area legal territory that we've been coming into basically from the gate.
Yeah, you can't, like,
Hidden volume, you can do the different.
Right. So the challenge you run into there is that if you have, there are two questions that law enforcement can ask you. Number one is to use your password, and if you lie about it, you've just committed a felony by lying to law enforcement officers. The other is they can ask you, do you have any other passwords? And if you use that, if you use like a rubber hose type encryption, then that's what it is. One way that somebody suggested to get around this is to encrypt your system with like some gobbledygook password and then upload that password to another system. And that way, in order to log into your system,
Brilliant. Mr. Hands all day.
I know it pisses them off, but all right, one wipe is enough. Part of my head going, one wipe is enough. If you want to make it, I can find research on it. One wipe is enough. I mean, when you get one particular bit, you can figure out like 9% oil. Yeah. But when we get down to a bite, it's incredibly hard. So the government wipe was designed and tied to it, and for different coating and different technology. Any more modern day drive, one wipe, and they're pretty much not going to recover. With the exception of bad block lists, and guy named Couple has talked about bad block lists, they can't pull stuff up, but that takes special hardware and still be small amounts of data in the web. Well, they can still recover stuff. Then there's something you can use called secure wipe or smart wipe that you get that through.
That's brilliant. Yep. Yeah, don't travel with a hard drive in your computer. Yeah, just don't do it.
Yeah, I mean, you could TrueCrypt it and then FedEx it. You know, FedEx it home and they just come through the airport.
But I think it's against the law to ship encrypted things across country borders. Yeah. Duly noted.
Paranoid. You TrueCrypt it, you take the bootloader off so it just looks like random data. You FedEx it.
No, because there's a guy in the UK who got sentenced to 5 years gigs of space noise. They thought it was encrypted data, and it was just a wave file of space noise. Yeah, so no, they'll fuck you for that too.
Now that's the UK where the laws concerning revelation of passwords are different.
True. Pardon? So yeah, I think lemon wipe's the safest way. Yeah. Act nobly. Wipe your drive with lemons. We good? Okay. Thanks.